We are back at the familiar setting of Mugello for the round number 3 of the TRAC World Touring Car Championship. This is the Pro class ready to do battle over 3 more races today. Round 3 of the championship approaching the halfway point of the season, and today we're at the 3.2 mile circuit at Mugello. 3 9-lap races for a full race distance of 29.3 miles. The championship has been ridiculously close over the last couple of rounds, with SVR Brothers leading the way just 5 points ahead of AMS Mercs. Nefel, LMP Stats, WRT McCowboy separated by just 4 points, with Crow and Snake Eye separated by a further 5. SVR Virtue rounds out the top 8 in a 5th BMW. We may be familiar with the Mugello circuit, but we've never seen these cars and drivers race around here before, so let's take a lap on board the BMW of LK Noble. So down the start-finish straight to start our lap here at Mugello, heading past the pit complex and under the bridge for the first time. The track goes up here before it drops down into the braking zone of turn number 1. You want to run as much of that curb as you can on the inside, use the grey markers as your braking point. Bring the nose of the car right over to the inside. You don't want to wash out too wide, that will invite someone to throw it down the inside of turn number 1. Now it's the first of 2 chicanes. Again, use as much curb on the way in, as much curb in the middle, and as much curb on the outside. You have to be really careful not to run the outer curb too much, end up touching the red and end up in the gravel on the exit. Now we're into a second chicane. It's another left-right. It's a little bit more open, a little bit faster in this one, but again, you need to run as much curb as possible. The track starts dropping away here into one of my favourite parts of the circuit. You drop 1 gear, you run all the curb on the way in, use as much of it as possible, and it's absolutely flat out through this section. You are balancing the car on the limit of grip heading through this double right-hander. You drop a gear into 4th and you are literally feathering the throttle. You don't touch the brakes, using all of the curb, all of the road to try and keep the speed, because you're about to head up the hill into yet another chicane. This time it's a right-left entry and it tightens up on the exit. So carry all the speed on the way in, get on the brakes and use all the curb in the middle of this corner to try and carry as much speed on the exit. You're heading back uphill before we drop down again into a braking zone for a long, wide open hairpin. You brake as late as you dare, carry as much speed through, trail brake and get on the power as early as possible. Now we're heading to the fastest chicane on the circuit. You're absolutely flat out in qualifying trim, use all the curb in the middle. The car steps a little bit here, so be careful not to use too much, otherwise you'll end up in the gravel on the exit. The final corner is a long sweeper, and it's important to carry as much speed through it as possible, because you're about to fire up the straight. The straight is uphill, so again, the exit of turn at the final corner is even more important, which means you might be under attack as you head under the bridge and complete a lap here at Mugello. Now, before we go racing, we need to find out where everyone's going to be starting, so let's take a look at the grid for race number 1. So after the hot lap qualifying, it was LK Noble who came out on top with newcomer TRAC Swift in 2nd. VRT Rattlesnake and its cream went well at Hockenheim, and they'll start on row 2. Row 3 is Sean S and DOR Craggadon in first with Chevrolet, with LMP Stats and Track Johnny filling out row 4. Row 5 is Track Crow and SVR Virtue making it an all BMW row 5. AMS Mercs is sat on row 6 in P11 with Skunk Eye alongside him. WRT McCowboy and Nefel in the BMW start off P14. Row 8 is Cassidy and Puglet X Modified in the Honda. Row 9 is Track Bliss and Track John well down the order from where he finished at Hockenheim. 19 is DOR Snake Eye. 20 is Mike in the Honda. And rounding out this 21 car field is Herbie in the Audi. So ready to go racing at Mugello for round number 7 of the championship. First race for pro drivers. Noble on the inside, Herbie on the outside. Lights go out, away we go. Good start there for the BMW, they're always pretty strong. The Audi start seems like it's falling down the order. Rattlesnake gets up into 2nd place, and Creamed in the Honda's had a good start as well, so that looks like Swift's already down to 4th place, possibly 5th, as he's got a swarm of BMWs coming down the inside of him. That looks like Stats has chucked it down the inside of Cream to move up into 3rd place. Crow's trying to have a crack at him as well. So the BM's really fast starting. That is the 99 car of Stats there that's got up into 3rd place, but Cream's not going to let him have it easily. Cream throws it back around the outside of the Beamer. Will they be able to get the power down on board with Swift? He's had a really poor start. Sean's got past him now as well. Looks like he might have clipped the gravel there as well, so he's down, 4, 5, 6 positions. He's about to lose a 7th around the outside there. Looks like Birchie's having a crack, and we'll look on board now with Stats as we look at the back of Cream heading down into the bottom section of the circuit. Stats has close company there from Crow and Sean behind, as you can't even see the Audi. There he is just behind under pressure from Birchie. Crow now right into the rear bumper of Stat, on board with Sean behind. Looking at this battle, bit of a slide from Crow there in reaction to what happened to Stat, and Crow's fired off the order. He's going to be falling down the order as we're still right on board with Sean in the Audi RS3. So Crow, after that off, now has Birchie to contend with. Birchie's trying to get a position on his fellow BMW driver. You've also got Nathel, Merckx, got Cragnon, who's dropping down the order there. But you've got 3 BMWs now in this fight with 2 Hondas lurking behind. Crow just about hangs on. His next target is to try and get on terms with Swift in front, who in turn has Sean, so he's not dropped that far down the order. You can see he's lost 2, maybe 3 places out of that one. Looking at the back of Birchie, the Rockstar BMW moves out to potentially take a move on Crow into the bottom corner. Crow runs a little bit wide though. That might allow Birchie and potentially the Thel to get into this one as well. But it looks like you've got Bliss in the Honda going around the outside of Merckx. So Merckx is dropping down the order. This is a point where he wants to be gaining as many points as possible. He doesn't want to be losing, but he's now in a drag race with a fellow Honda driver as they head down the main straight. Bliss is going to have the slipstream from the BMW in front, and he's just about pulling in front of Merckx. But Merckx is quite brave on the brake, and he might just think about chucking it around the outside. He doesn't, he thinks better of it. And Bliss is going down the inside of the BMW, so in one corner, Bliss has got 2 positions. He's got the position on Merckx, he's got the position on Nathel and the BMW. Merckx is now going down the inside, and Nathel in the Beamer as well. So Stats, Sean, and Swift all closed up now. This the fight over 4th position. So still fairly far up the order, but these guys are getting ridiculously close to each other behind though. Crow is just lost out to Birchie in the Beamer, on board with Bliss. Bliss is about to get the pair of them at the bottom of the run. He's got one of them on Crow. He's got one position on Crow. He has to slot in behind Birchie. He runs a little bit wide. Crow doesn't have an answer though. And Merckx is going to chuck it down the inside of Crow. Merckx is up a position potentially. The pair are still fighting. Albon Merckx just about has the nose in front. The Beamer though gets the power down. You've got Nathel, and it looks like TRAC John has got himself up the order as well. So the Audi's on a charge already, but Merckx now gets the position on Crow. He gets down the inside as Crow's shuffled out wide. Nathel goes down the inside as well. John is looking to pick up the pieces should this one come down. Should this end up in tears. Crow just about slots back in front. Oh, he's run wide, he's off, he's in the gravel. So Crow down the order. John's going to pick up the position on board with McCallboy. Looking at John, who's got 1 position. He's now about to go for a second one around the outside of Nathel. He goes to the cut back. Nathel goes a little bit wide, doesn't quite get the car to the inside. John's hung out to dry. Contact with McCallboy and Mike behind in the modal coloured car. Looking on board with Mike in the modal coloured car at the back of McCallboy. He's looking to go for a move now. You got Herbie firing up the order as well, but we're looking at TRAC John going down the inside, potentially of Nathel in towards turn number 1. Gets hard on the brakes, just sends the nose down the inside, gets the car turned in, holds the car on the inside, and gains that position from Nathel in the BMW. Merckx is not that far in front. You've got to think John's going to be challenging for it. This is back towards the front of the field. You've got Sean now under threat from Swift. Swift, he's already got past Stats in the second of the BMWs. He's about to go past Sean in the RS3. S3 versus RS3. Heading down towards the bottom end of the circuit. A little bit of a slide from Sean in the RS3 there. Doesn't allow Swift to come through. Swift takes a tighter line through that bottom corner. He thinks about it, thinks better of it. But you can see how far that RS3's gained thanks to Swift taking the tighter line. Heading up the hill, this is where it's going to hurt him. He might have the BMW right under his rear wing, so he's going to have to be thinking about that. It's not under the rear wing, it's past him now, so Stats back up a position, gets the position back on Swift. And now has Swift still coming at him, so Swift goes to the outside to maybe take a position around the outside of this bottom hairpin. Just about gets the nose in front, but Stats has come back at him. Stats has got the position back on the way out towards the chicane. The pair of nose to tail as they head through that pretty much flat out chicane, especially in race trim now. The Stats gets a little bit of a slide on. This is the helicopter cam looking at the 714 of Swift heading down towards the bottom hairpin and the final corner of the lap. Stats just holds the position on Swift. Swift still there though, but Stats gets the drive down and gets away from the Audi. So we saw one of the BMWs make up a place. It might be a case of one of them losing a place here as Nathel has Herbie for company with one of the Hondas behind. Oh, contact to further back. Looks like Johnny's been spat out towards the grass. We'll have to take a look at what happens there. But we're on board with Nathel in the Beamer, who has Herbie right up under the rear wing, heading down towards one of the chicanes. Herbie looks towards the inside, just gets a little bit harder on the brakes and gets the position down the inside. Nathel's going to fight it though. The Simpson car is just about in that fight as well. That looks like Puglet's in that one as well. 3 wide potentially coming down, and Herbie's got the position on Nathel in the Beamer. Nathel's about to lose another place here if they're not careful. They've got Puglet around the outside in the Honda. The Honda gets the power down, the Beamer gets the power down, heading through the chicane side by side, and Puglet gets it. Puglet gets the move. Nathel has to back out of it. Now they've got the 2 Chevrolets, the 2 DOR cars for close company. It's the 346 about to take a dive down in towards the final corner. The Chevrolet gets alongside and just about gets the position. Snake Eye then up a position on the BMW, Craggan on close behind. This is what happened further back though. John gets a little bit of a slide on the Mercedes of Skunk Eye. We're riding on board, gets into the back of them, and a bit of a twitch, ends up in a massive spin for the Audi. Coming across the road like that, they were lucky not to collect someone. This though is the Audi of TRAC. John trying to get a position back on Merck, so John's climbing himself up the order. He had a pretty poor qualifying, but he's translating that into decent race pace. Down the inside of turn number 1 on Merck's former championship leader, runs a little bit wide, and John in the Audi just gets the position. It's the number 9 car moving up the order. Birchie's the next target for the Audi, for the Oreo Audi driver, heading through the first of the chicanes. On board Merckx now. Merckx isn't going to let this position go. There's a reason why he's at the front of the championship. So this to fight further up, you've got Stats, you've got Bliss, you've got Swift in this one as well. Swift going around the outside of Stats in the BMW, the Audi on the outside, Beamer on the inside. You've got Bliss trying to get into this one as well. The Beamer looks like they've just got the drive out. Swift now has to try and defend from Bliss in the Honda further back. Stats goes towards the inside, on the outside, sorry, in towards the final corner. On board there with Bliss. Is he going to be able to run it around the outside? Not quite. The Beamer gets the power down. Bliss in the Honda gets a good drive out there. This could be 3 wide heading down the straight. Swift goes for the inside this time round. It's going to become the outside of turn number 1, but he doesn't quite have the speed to get alongside that BMW. He's going to have to lock back into the slipstream and think about a diving towards turn number 1. He's getting closer all the time though, as he's drafting right up to the back of the Beamer. The Beamer runs the defensive line, so Stats really trying to hold on to this position. Swift goes around the outside now. Will he try the cut back, or will he end up in the clutches of Bliss, who looks like they have a little bit of a connection problem there? The Honda though reappears just behind though, but now we've got Swift going down the inside of Stats. Stats just about hangs on in the BMW. Looking back, his rear mirror is full of Audi as he head down in towards that second chicane. Stats just has the run. He gets a little bit of a slide on. Will that allow Swift to get down the inside in towards this bottom corner? Not quite, as the Beamer just has the power to fend off the Audi in towards that bottom section of the circuit. The cars go light coming down here. Will there be a little bit of a slide, a little bit of a bump and run potentially from the Audi? Heading down into the bottom corner. Not quite. The Audi's not got the pace. The Audi slides himself, so no chance of a bump and run there, but Stats loses it himself. Swift down the inside, gets the position into the fast right-hander, and you can see the Beamer right under the rear wing of the Audi, but he's down a position now. Will they fight back into the chicane? Isn't quite able to show the nose, so Swift just about hangs on to that position. Awesome move there to take advantage of the opportunity, but Bliss now trying to have a run on the outside of Stats. Stats probably isn't going to try and fall for the same move, but Birchie's in there as well. This fight is ridiculously close. We head into the final couple of corners. Birchie though trying to get a move on the Honda. The Honda's trying to make a move on Stats in front. No cigar, not quite close enough. So on the final lap, this is what the race has come down to. Noble riding on board. We've got Rattlesnake and the RS3 looming right behind. It's going down to the final couple of corners here at Mugello for race number 1, round number 7 of the championship. Noble takes a pretty much perfect line through there, but it might not be enough to hold on from Rattlesnake, who's coming closer in towards the final couple of corners. Now there's just the chicane and the long left-hander at the final corner to go through the chicane. Noble looks like just about to have the pace advantage over Rattlesnake. Rattlesnake might be too far back to get this done on board with the Audi as he chases the lead. You can see the leader in front, but we're into the final corner now. Noble just about has the job done. Gets the nose turned in, gets the power down, heads down the main straight. It looks like he's just about gotten covered. Rattlesnake's not going to be able to get it done. Coming across the line to take his first victory of the season. Number 1 plate, it's LK Noble in the BMW, who wins round number 7 of the TRAC World Touring Car Championship. Rattlesnake has to settle for second after that close fought battle in the final couple of laps. but it is Noble in the BMW who seals the victory in round 7 of the championship. Rattlesnake comes home second, Cream is third, Sean S and TRAC Swift fill out the final 5, with 6th place going the way of TRAC Bliss. LMP Stats in 7th, TRAC John in 8th from towards the back of the grid, Birchie 9th, Merckx is 10th, Herbie 11th from last on the grid, and Puglet in 12th. So once again, race 2 is a partial reverse grid. This time the random number generator picked out number 8. So TRAC John and Stats will hold row 1 with Bliss and Swift on row 2. Let's head down to the grid to see it all kick off. So ready to go for race number 2 of the day, round 8 of the championship. Lights out, away we go. Really good start there for the BMW. The Audi's fallen down the order already, but it is Stats, the BMW, that takes on the early lead. John there in 2nd place, just about hongs on to 2nd place. As it looks like we've got another Audi popped up into 3rd. Correction, that is just about everyone for 3rd. They're 3 wide heading in towards turn number 1. They'll be lucky to get through this without contact. And it looks like they just about got away with it. But look at the gap that Stats and John have at the front already. The pair of them have sodded off at the front of this one. And they're still side by side for 3rd place. Looks like you've got Bliss just about fighting off a charge from Noble further down. But looking at TRAC John, who holds on to 2nd place, heading in towards the section chicane for the first time. Stats leads. John is there in 2nd place, and Bliss just hangs on for 3rd. Further back, you've got Noble and Crow going at it. So Noble's fallen down the order a little bit already. He's going to have the top. He's got the top restriction on him, so he's going to be fighting for front and rear grip on this car. Compared to Crow, who I believe doesn't have a restriction on him. Only the top. Oh, Noble's off. Noble's sideways. He's just lost a position there. He's about to lose another one to Birchie behind that. Looks like you've got Cream fighting up the order as well, a little bit further back, heading in towards the penultimate chicane. TRAC Crow gets in front of Noble in the 1 place, and you've got the Hondas fighting further behind to try and get in front. Herbie's up the order as well. He's about to get Birchie. As we've got the Honda trying to go around the outside of Noble, not quite getting the position done. Noble just hangs on to fight another day, but if he's fallen this far already, he's about to fall a little bit further as John and Stats in front hold the lead ahead of Bliss, Rattlesnake and Nathel. So Rattlesnake versus Nathel heading down in towards turn number 1. Rattlesnake in the RS3 gets down the inside, gets the position done, and he almost gets into the back of Bliss in front, but Nathel isn't going to let them go. They're not going to let them have this position easily. Heading in towards the 2nd chicane. Nathel on the inside, Rattlesnake on the outside, just about hangs on. Rattlesnake now is the inside for the 2nd of the 2 chicanes. Looking at the back of Rattlesnake, he just loses out to Nathel. A little bit of a contact there, but it looks like the Beamer just about got away with it, heading down into the 2nd chicane. The BMW just got away with it, but look how close the Beamer and the Audi are in front. On board with Nathel, looking at the back of Rattlesnake. Rattlesnake's dropped off the order there, so maybe a little bit of a mistake, as he's now going to be coming under threat from Swift, Sean and Crow, who are running close together, heading into the bottom end of the circuit. Rattlesnake runs a little bit wide, Crow runs a little bit wide as well, and Noble's wide as well further behind. Noble trying to hang on now from what I believe is... That's Puglet in the 2nd of the Simpson Hondas. So the Honda's going pretty well around this circuit. He's putting pressure on Noble, who runs wide again, down in towards the penultimate chicane. Puglet sends it towards the inside. Noble just about hanging on the outside, but isn't going to be able to get the space. The Simpsons car comes across the front of him and gains the position as there's dust kicked up in front. Waiting for them to come over the rise. You've got Puglet's up the order. Birchie's thrown it down the inside for Noble as well, so Noble's down losing another position. It's not going well for the number 1 plate. He won the first race. He's definitely not going to win the second one. No one so far has been able to win race 1 and race 2. We've had no one win 2 races in a single day. These guys, though, are fighting over the win for race number 2. You've got John and Stats going at it down towards the bottom end of the circuit. Stats has the advantage so far. John, though, he's clawed his way up the order in race number 1. He's about to go for a win in race number 2. Stats is sideways. Will this allow John to throw it down the inside? He closes right up. He doesn't quite have the pace to outdo him on the straight. It's going to have to be a lunge in towards the chicane. He throws it towards the inside. The Oreo Audi on the inside. The BMW Bank Beamer on the inside there. He just about keeps it side by side. Will he be able to get the power down? It looks like he's got a slightly better run compared to Stats, heading in towards the penultimate hairpin, and he gets across the front. So John takes the lead in the Oreo Audi, heading in towards the final chicane. Before we head down towards the bottom corner, it's Audi 1, BMW 2. Looking further behind, it's BMW 3, as I think that is Nathel who's come up the order as well. So Noble dropping down the order now. He's now got Herbie and Merckx up for company as well. Herbie qualified last in race number 1. He's about to take the winner of race number 1. heading in towards the bottom section of the circuit. On board with Herbie now. Noble's running really wide. He's really struggling with that top grip restriction. You can see the rear end of that Beamer. He's going everywhere but straight, so maybe he might have a little bit of damage. Massive lunge from Herbie. He's contacted the rear of Noble. Noble gets a little bit of a slide. Herbie backs out of it a touch. Merckx now throwing it down the outside of Herbie into this bottom hairpin. Thinks better of it, slots back into the slipstream, as in front that looks like Swift and Rattlesnake are going at it as well. But now you've got Puglet going around the outside of Birchie, so Herbie lost out. That's allowed Puglet through. Noble now is about to lose out as well. Herbie and Merckx are still there. Puglet on the back of Birchie, heading in towards the bottom corner. We're on board with Puglet now, heading into the final corner. Will he fancy a dive? Will Birchie be able to cover it off? He takes the dive, he gets the nose in front, he gets past the BMW. So Puglet up a position, as you've got Swift and Rattlesnake going at it as well. Herbie and Merckx behind to side by side, on board with Merckx. They head down the start-finish straight. The pair is still side by side. Merckx looks like he's just got the advantage. He's got the slipstream from Noble. Noble running it right down the middle of the corner of the circuit, trying to maybe defend a move for a late lunge. Hard on the brakes. Merckx just has the position on Herbie, heading in towards turn number 1. He's right under the rear wing of Noble, and that looks like you've got Mike getting into that one as well. So Herbie's about to drop down the order after a solid race 1. He's not making up the positions he'll hope for in race number 2. Merckx right into the back of Noble now. Merckx trying to go for a position with Bradders out of it. This is exactly what he needs to do, and he's about to gain points at the expense of Bradders' teammate. Noble was missing from Hockenheim. He's flying the SVR flag here at Mugello, but it is going to be his championship rival Merckx who's about to get another position and gain some points at the expense of his teammate, heading down into the bottom section of the circuit. Herbie's a little bit sideways. He's not out of this fight either, as you've got McCollboy. It looks like Cassidy might get into this one, and TRAC Johnny after getting spat out in race number 1. Merckx looks to the inside. Oh, there's a couple of cars off. That looks like Sean. I couldn't see who the other one was, but there's 2 cars down the order already. Herbie, though, he's up the order compared to Merckx, so having gained 2 positions to 3, he's about to gain another position on track thanks to an overtake on Merckx. But look at the gap they've got to Noble. Noble, though, runs wide heading into the chicane. That's going to allow more to close up. It's the gap that he built up thanks to that off in front. He's managed to lose straight away to Herbie. Herbie's gained 2 positions in 2 corners. He's gained a 3rd position on the straight, and he's about to lose that 3rd position now to Merckx, who chucks it back down the inside. Merckx is really fighting here. He's trying to gain as many points as he can to get himself back into the lead of this championship. He gains the position back on Herbie. Now McCollboy's into the back of Herbie as they head down the bottom corner. So we're going to find out now exactly what happened. We're on board with one of the Hondas. I believe this is Bliss looking at the back of Sean, heading into the bottom end of the circuit. The cars are really light over this section. It's really easy to lose the rear end. Oh, Bliss has tried to send it around the outside. Sean's not seen them there and moved over to take the racing line. Looks like a bit of a racing incident there, but the 2 of them come together. The pair of them lose a lot of positions. So heading towards the closing stage of this race, and the BMW teammates are now going at it. Stats held the early advantage. He was challenging John. He had the lead. He lost the lead. Now teammate Nathel is right up under the rear wing. So is this going to be a change of position? Is there going to be any team orders here? It looks like they're fighting it, but Stats stays towards the racing line. Nathel throws it down. Has a look down the inside. Stats runs a little bit wide. Nathel throws it down the inside. Stats doesn't look like they're going to defend that position too hard, and Nathel now goes in towards 2nd position. Stats just about lets them go, so Nathel definitely has a better race car in this situation. So Nathel has taken just a lap to close right onto the back of John. You can see the gap they've got over Stats, but this is the final lap of the race, and Nathel sniffs a victory. The Beamer's going to potentially go for it, heading in towards turn number 1. John runs the defensive line. The Beamer has to go around the outside. There's no room there. John just holds on to the position. It's not really an overtaking point, the outside of turn number 1, but they tried it anyway. Fair play, but they might have just scuppered their chance of taking the victory here. On board with Nathel as we head down towards the 2nd of the 2 chicanes. John is definitely slower than the BMW. The Beamer maybe looked after its tyres a little bit better, while John scarpered off in front, trying to build a bit of a gap. The Beamer is right on the back of the rear wing, looking back at John. This is what he's going to be seeing in his rear view mirror. He's going to be seeing a lot of black BMW heading down in towards the bottom end of the circuit. John gets a bit of a slide on Nathel, definitely gets a better line. There's maybe a little bit of a touch between the Audi and the BMW heading down to the bottom end of the circuit. It's all uphill from here, so maybe the better grip of the BMW is going to pay them dividends heading through this section. But you can see that gap has come out a tiny bit sideways there from the Audi in front though, and look how quickly that gap can close. Look how quickly Nathel's got onto the back of them. Dive down the inside of the chicane. Nathel goes to the lead. Are they going going to be able to get the move off, get the power down? Johnny's still fighting it. This is going to go down to the final couple of corners. Vettel's using all the track to try and stay into this one. They've got the inside of this corner, and they've got the lead. So that's the BMW into the lead on the Audi on the final lap. What an amazing race this has been. But round number 8 of the championship has come down to the wire. The Audi is not going to let this one go. They're still under the rear wing, heading through the final couple of corners. There's just one corner left to go. Vettel hasn't led a lap in this entire race, but they're going to lead the most important one. They're in the lead, heading through the final corner. John hasn't got an answer for them. They haven't got the grip. They've not got the power. They run wide. They run off the track. But it is going to be another win for a BMW. The first manufacturer to take 2 wins in one race day, but it is 2 different drivers. Vettel comes across the line to win round number 8 of the championship. John has to settle for second. There's 2 BMWs on the podium. There's 3 BMWs in the top 4 as Crow gets into 4th place. Bliss has to settle for 5th. Swift in 6th. Merckx is there in 7th. Herbie in 8th. Rattlesnake 9th. SVR Birchie comes home in P10. WRT McCallboy in 11th, and on his debut in the championship, Mike gets himself into P12. So, with one race left to go at Mugello, let's go for gold and let's make it a full reverse grid. Let's put Cassidy and Creamed on the front row, Sean S and Craggadon on row 2, Track Johnny and Puglet will fill out row 3. Let's head down to the grid and see how it all plays out. So down the grid for the final time today, you've got Cassidy on the inside, you've got Creamed on the outside, Sean and Craggadon filling out row 2. Lights go out, away we go. Good start from the Mercedes and the Honda off the front there, but it looks like the Chevrolet is going to come around the outside there. The Mercedes has the lead, heading towards turn number 1. The 3 wide fighting over second position. It looks like Sean's just about going to get the position, but look at the Chevrolets. They're swarming already. Sean gets second position in towards turn number 1. Cassidy goes all sorts of sideways, so Sean gets the lead. Cream's there in second place. Looks like Snake Eyes managed to get themselves in towards third. But the Audi, there's cars off the back. That looks like Cassidy just got fired off. Looking at the back of Cream now, you've got one of the Chevrolets there in third place. With that, looks like the Audi of Swift, I believe, in 4th. Correction, the Chevrolets are now up into 4th as Cassidy's recovered back into 5th place. Cream's off now as well. This looks like the race that no one wants to be in the lead of, but currently in the lead is Sean and the Audi RS3 with the pair of Chevrolets sat in second. Correction, it wasn't Cassidy, it was the teammate Skunk Eye, but this is what happened to Cassidy at the lead. So a little bit of a slide on, heading through turn number 1. The back end just stepped out. That's allowed a flurry of cars through already. Heading in towards turn number 2. Heading to turn in, and there's a car on the outside by the looks of it. We've just been spat off towards the exit. We'll see if we can find out who that was. This is on board with Rattlesnake. There's Cassidy in the front, so we're going to get a good view of what happened there. There's teammate Skunk Eye, who I mistook for the recovered Cassidy. So they've gone well so far. It was Rattlesnake that came across the nose. So Rattlesnake ended up having to turn into the corner. Cassidy was there. This is the fight further back, though. You've got one of the Simpsons car going after Mike with that looks like Creamed a little bit further behind, so that's where Cream's recovered to. I believe that one is Puglet potentially. They've been down the order a little bit. Yeah, that one is Puglet, who's got a position on Mike. Debutant in the season this far in, so round number 3 is his first showing in the championship. Looking back from the Honda at Track Crow, there's a car on the inside there. The car on the inside is Merckx, so Merckx has got himself up, is getting himself towards the sharp end of the field already. So Merckx challenging Creamed for what looks like a position inside the top 10. You've got Johnny going well in front there. But Merckx is trying to throw himself as far up the order as he can. Crow's run wide. Creamed is trying to defend his position by getting a position on Mike in front. Looks like he's just got the position on the outside there. Too wide heading through the chicane. This isn't a place you want to go too wide. Merckx gets shuffled out. The order stays the same. This is on board with Birchie behind. He's got the position on Merckx on the outside of the final corner. So Birchie profiting already from that, but Merckx gets harder on the brakes. He gets that position back. Cream now going down the inside in the final corner of Mike, heading down the straight. Looking at the back of Birchie, you've got the one Honda in front and 2 more Hondas further in front going side by side down the straight. Looking at Merckx and Birchie though, as you've got Mike and Cream. Mike just has the legs on Cream heading in towards turn number 1. So good start there from the Motorhall car, but he's about to have 3 cars throw it down the inside. Merckx goes to move, thinks a little bit back. Robert Birchie tries to capitalise as Merckx is shuffled out a little bit. But up at the front, it's still the same order, sticking with it. But Mike is just about hanging on here from Cream. So fantastic start from the rookie in his first round. Looking back at him, and look at the gap already. This is how big the gaps, this is how quickly the gaps can ebb and flow in this sort of race. But you've got the 2 Chevrolets now fighting over second place. The smart thing for these lads to do, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, is to work together and get away from Skunk Eye behind them. But you've got to think the racing drivers, they're going to want to fight. And that fight is starting to happen as one of them fires it down, tries to fire it down the inside. They run a little bit wide. That's going to allow Skunk Eye to come into this fight. I said they should work together. Skunk Eye goes sideways. Looking on the back of the Chevrolet, I believe this is Snake Eye. He's got the 420 Mercedes right in behind him. This is why they should have worked together. They should listen to me. It's almost like they can't hear what I'm saying. But Skunk Eye is going down the inside of the chicane in the 420 car. Just about gets the move. Just about hanging on for the position. They're going too wide through here. Oh, Skunk Eye's been shuffled out. He's off in the gravel. He's going to be losing a lot of positions just like his teammate. So it's definitely not a good day to be in a Mercedes. It's a really good day to be in a Chevrolet, though, as they're currently running second and third. Just about. Puglet now trying to take third position off that second Chevrolet, a little bit further back. Everyone's going for fifth position. Johnny O is the one that holds onto it at the moment. He's got a pack of 3 Hondas that are trying to get in behind him. Cream has the pack of Hondas. Mike's there. You've got Merckx and Birchie fires it down the inside of Merckx. They're going 3 wide through the final corner. Contact there between Johnny and Cream. Johnny's been shuffled out. He's been hit by another Honda, so he's been tag teamed by the Hondas there, and he's thrown down the order. Merckx right into the back of Birchie. Meanwhile, Puglet is now going for third position once again on the Chevrolets. They should have worked together, but oh well, my advice is useless to them. The Chevrolet moves over a little bit to try and defend it. Puglet throws it down the inside. Is he going to get himself up the position? Yes, he is. The Chevrolet's got nothing with the Honda. The Chevrolet loses out of position, so it's now an Audi 1, Chevrolet 2, Honda 3, 3 brands in the top 3 of this race. So good racing, good BOP from the organisers so far. Further back though, Herbie's now under pressure from one of the other Hondas. This one is Bliss. He's trying to get up the order as well to fight with his teammate, but he's got a few cars in order to get through that. Looks like Cream was having a bit of a slide on there. Once again, looking on the back of Herbie, you've got Crow right up behind him. And the Simpsons Honda is in this fight as well. It's a 4-car fight, as it looks like. You might have Skunk Eye in the back of the Honda as well. Who's trying to get back up the order after being shuffled out. Crow throws it towards the inside of Herbie. Herbie's a little bit wise to that one, so that move's not going to come off straight away. But Crow is now tucked right under the rear wing of the Audi, heading down into the bottom hairpin. You just see Merckx and McCallboy going through the shot. So Bliss under pressure now from the recovering Mike. You've got TRAC Swift in that fight as well. Looking at the back of the 16 car, you've got Swift on the inside heading in towards the bottom end of the circuit. The three in front of him have broken away, but Swift has thrown it down the inside. A little bit of contact there with the Honda as they come through that corner, but Swift's got the position. Bliss might be able to lose out to another position. He's got Mike around the outside. Awesome move from the rookie. He's thrown it down the outside. You're on board with Swift now, looking back at the pair of Hondas. The Motul car looks like it's pretty well set up. Oh, Herbie, is that Herbie and the Audi has been shuffled down the order. So Herbie's off the road as well now. Nobody wants to be up towards the front of this race. They're all throwing each other off the road. But this is Swift, and it's Mike going at it now, heading down towards the bottom hairpin. So now we're going to find out what happened to Herbie. We're on board with TRAC Crow. Gets right up the rear bumper of the Audi, heading through the bottom end of the circuit. Oh, this is contact. You really don't want contact in this section of the circuit. Oh, it's just the slightest of nudges. Put the Audi on the gravel, and then Crow gets up the position. So Merckx now getting himself up the order. He's looking to get towards the front end of the field. He's got one of the Chevrolets in front of him. That's the next target. But he needs to be careful of the BMW Birchie behind. So if this move goes wrong, he might end up under pressure for the BMW. He sends it down the inside. The move doesn't go wrong. It goes pretty well as he'll have planned it, but he's not quite got past the Chevrolet. So you can see Cream just in front. That'll be what these guys want to get on terms with. But Merckx throws it down the inside. The Chevrolet's about to lose another position as the Beamer's getting into this one as well. I did say Birchie could factor in. Oh, the Chevrolet's off. The Chevy's off. What is it with BMWs pushing cars off the track? So we get to take another look at this one. You've got Merckx and Craggadon trying to go at it there. Merckx gets the position on the inside. Birchie tries to follow him through, and it's the slightest of touches just spat that Chevrolet out. So Craggadon's down the order. That's the Chevrolet off into the gravel trap. This is his teammate though, trying to fend off another pair of Hondas. So Snake Eye has Puglet and Cream for company up further up the field. So they're heading down into the bottom end of the circuit. Snake Eye runs a little bit wide. He's going to have to take a tighter line through this bottom end of the circuit. On board with Cream behind. This could be the point where Puglet and Cream get both past the Chevrolet in front, but the Honda runs a little bit wide, heading through the bottom corner into the chicane. Will he fancy a dive on the inside? Thinks a little bit better of it. Doesn't quite go for the move. Cream though right into the back of his fellow Honda driver now, heading towards the downhill braking of this top hairpin. The Chevrolet just about has the position done. Cream thinks about going for a dive on the inside of the Simpsons exhaust car. He does go for the move. The Simpsons car just left the door open a tiny bit. There was just a Honda-sized gap on the inside there, and Crean tried to throw it down the inside, but it wasn't really there. He backed out of the move, decided to think better of it. Looking at the back of Puglet as he tries to fend off Crean behind him. Crean throws it down the inside. Puglet's gone off wide, so Crean gets the position. He's up into third place. This is the fight over the final podium place, but look, it's allowing the Chevrolet to clear off in the distance. The Hondas are engaged in a drag race down the straight towards the start-finish line to put another lap in the book. There's not long left in this race now for these guys to fight it out, so they're going to have to try and settle this one as quickly as possible. These guys have 1 lap left to sort this position out, but it is Crean who just holds on in front of Puglet in front of him. This guy, though, he's been unchallenged towards this race. He's built out a big enough gap. It's Sean S91 who's going to become the second double winner of the championship. Brad has won his second race at Hockenheim. Sean won his first race there. He's won his second race at Mugello. So 2 weeks, he's taken 2 wins for the Audi RS3 driver. Awesome race in there from the Öhlins car to come through to take his second win of the season. Second place went the way of DOR Snake Eye, with Puglet finishing out the podium. Merckx got himself up into 4th place with Creamed in 5th. WRT McColby completes the top 6 with Skunk Eye after that off, finishing in 7th. TRAC Crow in 8th, Mike in 9th on his debut. 9th is Craggon after his off in turn, with TRAC Swift and TRAC Bliss rounding out the top 12. So after 3 ridiculously close races, let's take a look at the championship, and right now it's anything but close. AMS Merckx now holds a 20 points advantage over LMP Stats in second. It is quite close over second place, as a teammate Nathel is just 3 points further back, with TRAC Crow a further 2. Then it's a little bit of a gap back to McCallboy in P5, with DOR Snake Eye 3 points further back from them in a fellow Chevrolet. SVR Bertie and TRAC John complete the top 8, and they're split by just a single point. The next time we see the pro drivers is when we head back over to Silverstone on the international circuit for round number 4 of the championship. If you enjoyed what you see and you want to see some more, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to check out the AM races which are coming next.